over there is Cape Hovnanian. You might think that's a very bad idea to allow that development to move forward. But here's the thing. Who should determine that? My feeling? The people of Queen Anne's County, for better or for worse. They should decide what happens. And in fact, land use often has been the purview of the local jurisdictions. But instead, Montgomery County, my county, Buffalo County will decide ultimately what happens there, perhaps. Now, this is percentage change in population by county. Okay, another important story here. The dark green colored areas is where population growth has been fastest for the last 3 years which we have data, 2010 to 2012, the dark green colored areas. So this is Howard County right here, that's St. Mary's County right there. That's where you see most of the growth. Where do you see the white areas? These are areas where population is falling. Rural Maryland. But again, do not think, and I'm beating a dead horse, I understand that, but do not think this is common to rural America. It is common to some rural communities. I met somebody yesterday from Mineral County, West Virginia. That county is struggling too, no question. But by and large, many rural counties across the country are actually adding population, adding prosperity. This is percent of total population in poverty by county. The dark red areas are where you see the highest proportions of poverty. These darker brown colored areas are where you see the second highest proportions of poverty. Where do you see it? Allegheny County, Somerset County, obviously Baltimore City. But a lot of that is on the Eastern Shore. So what does the Eastern Shore need? More jobs, more income generating opportunities, and therefore business climate that allows for that kind of private sector growth. Because it's not going to be the federal government in these jurisdictions, it's going to have to be the private sector. So the business climate is going to have to be able to embrace that kind of private investment. I think you would agree. This is personal income percentage change by county for the last year for which we have data, which by the way is only through 2011. These come from the Bureau of Economic Analysis, and we do not have 2012 personal income data yet. But I just want to show you where the slowest growth is in incomes in our state. Somerset County, now there's also Prince George County, Wycomico, Carroll, Dorchester, Allegheny, Calvert, Kent, Frederick. That's where you see some of the slowest income growth, largely in rural Maryland. This is a problem. This is percent change in population by county. Where do you see this slightest population growth? Washington, Garrett, Allegheny. A lot of that is rural Maryland. Now I must say that some of these counties out here, Calvert, Carroll, actually are adding population because people are saying, I don't want to live in Prince George's County necessarily, and so they're moving. I don't want to live in Baltimore County. Baltimore County is changing. My county is changing. I'd rather live in Carroll County, so on and so forth. But my point is a lot of that population growth is not in rural Maryland. This is educational.
Why the age 20 to 24?
Oh, thank you for pointing that out. This is here. I was showing you percentage change of population for everybody, all age groups. I thank you for pointing that out. This slide is 20 to 24. Where am I? There I am. This is 20 because I want to show you where young people are moving to. Young families. The next generation of entrepreneurs, the next generation of workers. My point merely was that, when you see a Washington County with the slowest population growth of 20 to 24 years old, that's a problem. That means those 20 to 24-year-olds are disproportionately leaving the community. Same thing in Garrett County, same thing in Allegheny County. So these populations get older, less economically vibrant, less attractive to businesses that are expanding because the labor force is not growing as quickly. That's the problem I want to highlight with that chart. I thank you for bringing that up. Now this is educational attainment. This educational attainment. So this is another challenge for rural Maryland. This is the percentage of population with a BA degree or higher by county, 2009 to 2011, and this comes from the American Community Survey, which is administered by the U.S. Census Bureau. So where do you see the smallest proportions of people with college degrees or higher? Caroline County, Somerset County, Allegheny County, Dorchester County, Garrett County, Washington County, Cecil County, largely rural Maryland. And you have to ask yourself, well, how do these counties remain viable when the cognoscenti do not live there? The people who can actually, in part, to start businesses, in part to raise their incomes.
Adult population?
Yeah, this is adult population. This is everybody, not just 2024. Thank you, Len, for asking that question. This is for everybody. Well, you say, okay, fine, Anirban, we understand that Howard County is very educated, Montgomery County is very educated. The key here, clearly, Anirban, is better public education. So if we want to raise educational attainment, we want to raise the knowledge base, we have a population in our communities, they're of school age, and we want to provide them with the best public education possible, that's what's going to raise. We can't count on folks from Montgomery County to move to Kent County. We understand that with their PhDs, but we can do this in a different way, a more organic, grassroots kind of way. Well then, let's look at the quality of educational outcomes then, shall we? This is Maryland 4th grade math proficiency, 4th grade, by county. Where do you see the greatest proficiency? Well, I pointed out earlier, Worcester County has a reputation for having a very good school system, so it is possible. Worcester County has a quite good school system. But where do you see some of the lowest performers in terms of math? And by the way, remember, here we're talking about math proficiency in an American context. If we were talking about math proficiency in an Indian context, where those kids are 2 years ahead of ours by the 4th or 5th grade, that's even different. So we're just talking about this in the context of women. There is this, in fact, this test called the Trends in International Math and Science Study. And you might have remembered this. For a long time, the Americans scored near the bottom of the Trends in International Math and Science Study for 4th grade and other grades against our developed rivals, developed economies, the other affluent countries of the world. And we Americans hate to lose. Now, in the past, what America would have done is said, let's put our nose to the grindstone. Our kids need to be smarter, and they need to raise their scores on this test. We're tired of losing. We're tired of coming near the bottom of our peer group. So what did the Americans do? Because we didn't want to score last anymore, and we don't score last anymore. You know why? Because we don't let our kids participate in the test anymore. Good. Okay. So where do you see the Queen Anne's County, Cecil, Garrett, Kent, Somerset, Wycomico? Not fabulous performance in rural Maryland. You see something very similar when you talk about reading proficiency by county at the 4th grade level. So where do you see some of the low performance in terms of the percentage that score advanced in the 4th grade reading proficiency test? Dorchester, Somerset, Talbot, Garrett, Kent, Wycomico, Cecil, Charles, Caroline, Allegheny. The best performance, no surprise, places like Howard, Worcester, Calvert. Calvert has very strong demographics. A lot of professionals and a lot of educated folks live in Calvert County. Housing is quite expensive. There's also Anne Arundel County, Montgomery County. That's where you see the best scores. This is a problem. So what have I said to you? I've said that these counties are not adding population. They are getting older. The kids that are there are not scoring particularly high on their tests. So what is the future for these counties? Life is challenging. Now you say, well, I know. There's this wave of baby boomers coming. They're headed toward retirement. The Dow is almost 16,000. They're ready to retire now. The oldest of the baby boomers turn 67 this year, 68 next year. In 7 years after that, 75. So this retirement wave is coming, and that will create some economies in rural Maryland as they retire. True enough, you do see some significant population growth among the 65 age category in rural Maryland. Places, for instance, like Talbot County, Garrett County, Carroll County, Charles County, so on and so forth. One of the keys to the sustained economics of the Eastern Shore in particular has been the retirement of affluent Americans to the Eastern Shore. They're basically the best citizens you can have. They buy big houses, they pay a lot of property taxes, they use very few services. We love those people. Now, people like Don Rumsfeld and Dick Cheney have properties in Talbot County. Those types of people. Except that, what if I told you that Maryland is not an attractive place in which to retire relative to what it had been? Then even the sort of the retirement industry is somewhat at least taken away, particularly as it relates to those people who are most affected by the policies that render us less attractive from a retirement perspective. So what am I talking about? So this is population projections by county for people over the age of 60 between the year 2000 and 2030. Obviously, what this reflects is the baby boomers coming of age, surpassing the age of 60, by the age of 2030. And this population is expected to grow everywhere. Surprisingly, in a number of counties, it's going to grow actually slower. So in Somerset County, Wycomico County, Garrett County, Talbot County, not as rapid growth in this retiree population. To me, that's bad economics, because retirement makes for more property taxes, not too much provision of public services, and sort of demand for healthcare services and other services that helps to energize the economy. What are the best states for retirement? Tennessee, Louisiana, South Dakota, Kentucky, Mississippi, so on and so forth. Where does Maryland rank? According to Bankrate.com, number 44. Now, there's a number of reasons for this.